Welcome to Titans for Life with your hosts, Justin Dubeau and Dean Mayrand. Most men drift because they live without an operating system. Today, we install one. 6 letters, 1 word. Titans. Training, income, tenacity, accountability, nobility, systems. This is how we move from chaos to forged.
Yeah, if you guys are tired of starting over every Monday, stay with us. By the end of this episode, you'll have a daily checklist, a weekly battle rhythm.
Welcome back to Titans for Life. I'm Justin with my brother in arms, Dean. We're here to build men who are strong, dependable, and dangerous to their own excuses.
Yep, grab a pen. We're giving you the Titans operating system. Step by step, let's get forged.
All right, T is for training. Training is the cornerstone, not just for beach picks, but for reliability. A trained man can be counted on. What are some key things that training has brought to your life, Dean?
It's my structure. It's my go-to. It's a non-negotiable. It's the thing that gets me moving in the right direction every day.
I feel like it should be a non-negotiable as well. Some minimum viable training, I think, is something we should talk about. Everybody gets stressed when they go to the gym and they need that 45, 60 minutes, but sometimes you're just not going to get there. What's some minimum things that you can do to keep in shape or keep going? A 15-minute workout, something you can think of.
Yeah, I like to mix it up all the time, whether it's half an hour of mobility, go out for a hike, walk the dog, hit the gym for 2 hours lifting weights. As long as it's something that's moving the needle every day, that I'm burning calories, I'm strengthening my body, and challenging myself one way or another.
Exactly. Clearing the mind. I like how you said you made it a non-negotiable. I agree with that fully. I think the biggest key is to make a weekly template for yourself, or at least a monthly one where you're checking in how you're doing when it comes to progress. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. So I'm one of those guys that have trouble taking days off. It's just something in me. There's a lot of times where my body is run down. I'm sore. I'm tired. I can feel that my body needs a break. But what I'll do is keep it as a part of the day, as a non-negotiable, where I go and spend some time doing something that is training my body. And again, that's a variety of different things, even if it's just a hike, even if it's just half an hour of mobility, riding the bike, going to the gym and just stretching, just going there as, I'm checking that box. That's part of my commitment to myself.
Yeah, it needs to be a plan that's tailored to each and every person. Everyone's going to be different. I think one hard and fast rule should be no 0 days, though. Even if you're smashed, you have just the worst day of your entire life, you should get out and go for a walk and do some push-ups. At least set a bare minimum for yourself so that you know that you're setting yourself up for tomorrow, even if it was a rest day, anything like that.
I love that no 0 days. I just heard it for the first time recently. It's just, even with diet, okay, so you eat a couple cookies, but doesn't mean it has to be a 0 day. It doesn't have to be a wasted day. You could still burn off whatever extra calories you ate. And then you can always make it a progressive day, a positively influenced day by reading a book, playing hockey, getting together with friends, putting in a hard workout, spending time with family. You never have to have a 0 day if you set your life up for it.
Exactly. Let's talk about a day we almost skipped and what changed after we started with 5 minutes, just being there. Has there ever been a day where you're like, I'm not going, but then you do, and it was worth every minute?
It's almost every single time. Going back to that thing we just talked about, there's days when you're worn down and you don't want to do anything, but, you get a buddy who pushes you a little bit and, pulls you to the gym or pulls you to go do something you don't necessarily want to do, but it always feels better after. Some of my best workouts I've ever had were the days where I didn't want to go.
Yep. Do the hard thing first. You won't regret it later. It can be anything when it comes to a plan too. If you want to do strength training, aerobic conditioning, boxing, mobility, anything like that, it just has to be a plan that's tailored to you, that you're going to start and you're going to finish. You're going to take it to the limit. So I think each person has to figure out what they like. If it's swimming, go for it, but make sure it's an attainable goal of, let's say, twice a week where you can make it to the pool. If you're at camp, you're not going to make it, but have a plan in place. Set yourself up for success.
I think that's so valuable, especially for the men or women who are out there that just haven't done anything for a long time. What is it that you like doing? Because you want to develop that habit, right? So if, boxing is something that you don't like and you're nervous about doing, well, it's going to be tougher to get there every day, or tough to get there at all. So you want to pick something that you are comfortable with and that you are maybe good at, then develop the habit slowly with that, right? Like if you don't like lifting weights, but you do like doing cardio, then start with the cardio for a month and then work yourself into the weights if you know that's something that you want to do. Want to develop some strength and a little bit of size, then you just merge in with 15 minutes of weights three times a week. You start with your cardio. You got there first. You establish the habit. That way, they're doing stuff that you enjoy doing, and that's how you grow, right?
Yeah, you build the habit first. Okay, let's move on to the second portion of Titans. I for income. Money is oxygen for your goals. Without income, your values will never scale. What are some things that you have done in the past few years that have changed a little bit when it comes to income or saving money or investing? Is there anything that you were fond of, something that got you started there too?
Like we've talked about, I've never been really good with my finances until the last few years. Reading books, and then just fixing the little things. Where can I where can I not spend money? What can I save on? What can I sell that I don't use? Simple little fixes. Where can I invest that's going to give me the maximum return? How can I diversify my portfolio so that, when one thing crashes, the other things are still moving the right way?
Yeah, I agree. There's a little bit of, I would say, a keeping up with the Joneses mentality that a lot of us have. And I think we need to learn how to overcome that, because what the next person has doesn't mean that they own it free and clear. And it might be a cloud hanging over their head as well. So we shouldn't be keeping up with the Joneses. We should be keeping up with what we need and making our own plan.
There really is a lot to unpack there because, we both have good jobs. We've got good income. And I think if we look around our houses and our lives, we probably got everything we've ever really wanted. But I'm in a spot in my life right now where I'm looking around going, do I need this? I haven't used it in 5 years. Do I need this? This cost me a certain amount of money. What am I holding on to this stuff for? What are the material things that I have right now that really matter? What doesn't matter? What can go? And where can I put that money where it can grow and be an asset instead of a liability?
Hey guys, quick pause to talk about a brand I actually use and trust: Prestige Labs. When it comes to supplements, I don't mess around with hype or garbage ingredients. Prestige Labs focuses on clean, third party tested products that actually support performance and recovery. I personally use their creatine for strength and output, protein powder to hit my daily intake, and their cravings crusher at night to stay disciplined and avoid late night snacking. If you're training hard and want supplements that support your work instead of working against you, check them out. You can find the link in the show notes and on our Instagram page under the Linktree link. And as always, this isn't medical advice, just real tools for men putting in real work. Yep. People got to start somewhere too. And if you're someone that has trouble with your finances now, I would recommend a month or two where you just track your spending and see what that looks like. A lot of people don't even have a baseline. It's the same with training or anything in your life. And then after that, set goals on what you want to go forward with.
Yeah, that tracking, that's a dirty surprise, boy. I've done it before, and it's amazing when you start adding up all the little things. Whoa, it's a bit of a slap in the face as far as where you can save money, what you're wasting money on.
Yeah, like how many times have you looked at your bank statement and you're like, I thought I only went out to eat twice this past month, but it turns out 5 or 6 times I was out somewhere. Like, holy crow, I got to get this dialed in.
Yeah.
Something as small as that. Let's move on to something else. What are some small daily actions on revenue that you're taking right now? Is there anything that you've cut out of your life recently or anything that you've improved on?
Yeah, big times. We're both on the same train. Been almost a year for me, no booze, and that's a fantastic savings right there. How many dollars a month was I spending going to the liquor store on days off? I mean, that's just one thing, but there's so much to unpack with the income because there's the saving aspect of it. um, what what things can we save on? What things don't we need that we have thought that we needed? And then where can we invest on the side? Right? I've never really looked at where I can invest because I've always had debt, and that's a fight, right? So if I'm paying, let's say 8% interest on this credit card, I can make 7% in this investment. It's a fight that it doesn't really make sense until you can get rid of the debt.
Yeah, absolutely. Debt holds a lot of people back. And when it comes to RSPs, stocks, Bitcoin, is there anything that you're into right now?
We've got some cryptocurrency coins. They've been sitting at a specific dollar amount for a while now. I mean, they've gone up and down. We're just holding them, see where they end up. I've made some other investments into a cryptocurrency platform. I don't know if that's going to pan out. Just crossing my fingers on that. You know, some of these things you got to kind of look at it like, got to take a gamble once in a while, and you can do as much research as you want. And some of them are going to work out for you, some of them aren't. But if you if you look at the people that have done well in life, a lot of their first their first wins were risks, right? They took a risk someplace, it worked out for them, and then they were able to maximize their growth from those wins.
Absolutely. I think having a good financial planner and then in the future tax accountant as well is a huge addition to the team. I think that's very helpful. My financial planner actually will be on the show here in a couple months, and I think it'll be great to speak with him. He'll be good.
Another thing on that, I mean, there's financial planners out there everywhere, and a lot of them, or some of them, aren't even doing financially well themselves. So that's something you have to look into. How are these guys doing? What's their what are their asset portfolio looking like?
That's, yeah, something great that most people wouldn't think of. Are there any books that you recommend that deal with financial dealings? Anything that you would recommend to somebody else that maybe kind of open your eyes along your journey?
Yeah, Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. I love that one. Unshakable, I believe, is a prequel to it. Read that one as well. Rich Dad Poor Dad was a really good one because it just breaks down what a liability is and what an asset is. And it's so simple. I mean, you put your money into assets, something that's going to grow and give you positive cash flow. I mean, it really is that simple, but not as easy to apply.
I was going to actually bring up that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, was a great one, and kind of forced me to think about buying assets and having them appreciate in value over time, and knowing what the difference between an asset and liability is. I also really like Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. Infinite banking and whole life insurance isn't for everybody, but it's a path that I followed, and I find it's been good for me. Obviously, that's up to you and your financial planner to go through if that's something you want to pursue in the future. The Bitcoin Standard by Safadine Amos. That guy was brilliant in writing that book. I really enjoyed it. I saw the value in Bitcoin early, and it has actually worked out fairly good for me. I'm still trying to dollar cost average as we go. The last few months have been tough with inflation. We'll just leave it at that, but I'm hoping to put some more money in that in the future. And I think even for somebody starting out, if stocks is their avenue or whatever, all the For Dummies books are actually really good. Good starting point to learn what the terms are and what they mean. And then from there, you can find people that are a little more educated or maybe you want to follow in their path. But the For Dummies books I found for the stock investing were awesome. And I was doing really well with that years back. And there's tons of resources out there. It's just finding what you're comfortable with and what you're willing to invest in, because you can save as much as you want, but at some point, inflation's going to beat you. Be the best advice I could give.
Yeah. And I think I mean, as long as you're consciously learning and applying these principles, you're doing well.
Yeah, even if it's starting a side hustle or something, but just being persistent and learning along the way. A lot of the income stuff is just about learning and then figuring out where your risk ratio is, like how deep you want to go.
As far as the side hustle thing, I don't think it's ever been easier to make money in a side hustle than it is right now in our current world. I mean, there's thousands of different ways, and AI can break it all down for you. Something as simple as I used AI recently in the last 6 months to suggest some ETFs, and I've purchased 3 different ETFs. They're all in the green right now.
Yeah, there's a plethora of information out there, and AI can be super helpful as well. I think we've beaten that horse to death. That was pretty good for income. You ready to move on to the next acronym?
Yeah, sure.
All right, next up, number 3, T for tenacity. Tenacity is staying in the pocket when it's not fun. It's reps, not romance. Identity over mood, something that I'm focusing on lately. Even if I'm in a bad mood, I'm the man who finishes regardless, has been the saying I've been using for the last 3 months. What do you think about that?
I love that. And I think that's such an answer. I mean, whatever you're going through, there's so much depression, anxiety, and different things that people are being diagnosed with or self-diagnosing with recently. And I think that statement really, it's the answer. It really is. Identity over mood. Doesn't matter how you feel. You've made a commitment to yourself to do these things. And when you do these things, it breeds confidence, it breeds self respect. And I don't think depression and anxiety can break through that if you're consistent with it over time.
That's right. It's an identity. It's finding your purpose. We're going to finish these hard things regardless of how we feel, and it's going to make us better in the future. And honestly, I've had issues with depression and anxiety in the past. And when I'm in a mood like this, there's no stopping me. It doesn't even cross my mind. It's just a learning experience, even if it goes
Yeah.
wrong. And the next day, we're going to try again. We're not done yet.
Yeah. Never. And I think an important concept to wrap your head around there is you're just never going to be done. And when you start to wrap your head around that and embrace that idea, it's where checking the boxes every day, that discipline mentality, that's what gets you to the place that you want to be every day.
Exactly. Having that anti-fragile view, like looking at setbacks as training weight, as something that's just going to make you stronger. It's, I think, is a great point of view that a lot of people miss out on. Lots of times we get set back and we give up too easily.
Yeah, that's a massive flaw in today's society. Nobody wants to compete because they might lose. Losing is where growth happens, right?
Completely agree. When it comes down to tenacity, I think it's probably good to set challenges for yourself, either weekly or monthly, and then keep yourself in check. But what kind of challenges would you set that would kind of show you how tenacious you're being in the moment?
Well, okay, let's use an average workout. So being tenacious in a workout and pushing yourself to levels that are uncomfortable for a lot of people. I really believe that that's what I'm able to move past. That's where I get my growth is when I can go in there and push past what I thought possible and get very aggressive with how hard I'm going to push my body.
Hey, fellow Titans. Just wanted to pause quick and mention that this episode today is sponsored by our own Titans for Life hydration pack. And listen, this isn't complicated. If you're training, hiking, biking, walking, coaching, working outside, or doing anything where you're sweating and moving for more than 5 minutes, you need to stay hydrated. This pack is simple, rugged, and useful. It has a 2-liter water bladder, adjustable straps, breathable back support, and enough of that tactical Titans feel without being overbuilt or goofy. It's the kind of thing you throw on and go. So if you want to support the podcast and grab a solid piece of gear at the same time, search Titans for Life Hydration Pack on Amazon or use the link in the show notes. Now, back to the show. Yep. And I think being tenacious and learning is the same thing. You can't just put the book down and give up. You got to finish the book. You got to take the test. You got to keep going. This is something that you signed up for. And then when you're done, the relief and the reward from it is huge. You set yourself a goal and you achieved it. You can't give up on anything. It doesn't have to be just training for anybody who's listening in. Just be ferocious.
Right. I think being stubborn is sort of a little bit of a badge of honor in this as well. When you're working on something and you're fighting through it, it's a bit of a grind. You're having trouble figuring it out or making it work. Just being stubborn enough and tenacious enough to not give up. That's where the confidence is right on the other side of that fence, or it's right on the other side of that challenge. The longer you grind through it and keep fighting, and then you end up getting it. Yeah, that's the win. That's the ultimate W.
I agree. And there's a spot to know when to be tenacious, I think. Like you want to work in rest and recovery as well, especially when it comes to training. But you can read as many books as you want. You can go through the education, but at some point you're going to need a rest. You can't do 28 hours of work in a day. So we want people to be tenacious, but at the same time, be able to relax after they're done being tenacious. There's a place and a time for it.
Yeah, and that's an important thing to address to a very important thing. I find that when you're an A-type personality or when you're grinding, you're chasing a goal, you're trying to achieve something. I find it personally the most challenging is when to take a break. I just feel like, if I am taking a break, I should be doing something. I should be reading. I should be researching. I should be moving the needle in some way. But an interesting thing I read in the last month was to factor in those rests recharge as part of the formula for success. It's way easier to really embrace the rest time and recharge when you've got that mindset part of the formula. This rest, this time with my family. Maybe it's this episode on Netflix, or maybe it's just chilling in silence. All part of the formula to achieve the success or achieve the goal that you're looking for.
I agree. And if you don't factor that in, you're going to end up just getting burnt out at some point, and it's just going to affect you negatively in the future. You're going to sit back and think like, I took that time off and now I'm regretting it because I had so much to do. So you're just going to not enjoy yourself when you have that time off. And that's where burnout begins, baby. And here it comes. Let's move on to accountability. Pillar 4, lone wolves starve. Accountability is how you stop lying to yourself. So when it comes to accountability, obviously you got to be accountable to yourself. What do you do as part of your morning and evening routine that keeps you accountable?
This is something I've really been digging into over the last year. Well, first of all, as you know, I love having a tribe around me. I feel like part of my purpose in life is to create team and bring people together. I want to share my wins, and I love watching other people succeed. So I've always loved being around people and creating that tribe mentality and holding each other accountable. And again, people might not like hearing it, but I'm the guy who's going to give you the accountability lesson that you might not want to hear.
Yeah, that's what we appreciate about you, Dean. That's what we need you for. You want that accountability back.
Yeah, I absolutely do. I want to surround myself with people that, will tell me transparently, you could have been better in this situation. You were a little bit one-sided, or you could have been more open-minded, or maybe you didn't give it your all today. I want that feedback. Winners want that feedback.
Yeah, me too. I really appreciate it when people are honest with me, and I think it makes better relationships in the long run. But for you in the mornings and evenings, you're doing like a journal as well, correct? Something to keep track of your goals as you go along?
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, that does help a lot. So I'd say 5 nights out of 7 on average, I make a note in my phone of the big ticket items that I want to hit the next day so that I can move the needle in that day, make sure it's a win. Typically always script out what my training is going to look like, and I always try to hit that first. That's my big win of the day. So I start every day with the training win, right? This is what that's going to look like. And I'll hit that first, and then these are the other little tasks, little or big tasks that I want to cross off the list. And that works really, really well for me. It's almost like when I'm sleeping, I'm setting myself up for success the next day.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to have to start doing something like that. My accountability is usually just talking to my wife every week or two and kind of seeing where the goals line up and how we're doing. And it's been good for me. It's somebody to fall back on and hold me accountable when I'm slipping. That's all we need.
On that, I've actually heard of men having a scorecard that they check in with their wife on weekly, and they get a scorecard for relationship, work, personal development. That's an interesting way to do it. And a lot of guys might not like hearing the transparent feedback from their wife, how they could have done better. Maybe they weren't the best dad, or they were, not as involved as they could have been, or even as a husband, if they could have done a couple different things a little bit more. But it's a great way to sort of look in the mirror every week.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a tribe thing. Like when you were talking earlier about building a tribe around you, I think that's the end goal here with Titans for Life. We really want to build a community where people are sharing ideas, building each other up, and kind of cutting each other down at the same time. Like we need that feedback, negative or positive, so that together we as men can grow together. We're trying to build a community of stronger men that are in the pursuit of something better.
Yeah, and I think Adam Allred hits that so well. If you're lone wolfing it, it's easy to tell yourself stories, right? Where you can make excuses, or you could think you're going harder than you need to go or not hard enough. I really believe having those like-minded men around you keeps it honest, keeps it fun, and you keep pushing yourself. You could see a guy who's perceivably not in as good a shape, and he's working harder than you, and he's pushing more weight than you, or he's doing more in a day than you are. And it's a lesson. It's a signal that you can do more, you can achieve more, you can push yourself harder.
I agree. And even something as small as our Titan Tribe workouts, where we have, let's say, 20 on a good day at the boxing club. It's just nice to see guys getting after it where they're peeking over their shoulder and they're like, wow, this guy's doing more than me. Or wow, he's super flexible. It's something I should work on. And some of the jabs here and there too. Like it's just building this community, this vibe that it's hard to beat. It's a lot of fun, is what I'm trying to get at.
It's so much fun. It's so nice to hear you say that too, because like those workouts that we do, that's pure medicine for me. Like, I don't know how you feel about it, but it's just like, I look forward to that so much, and the beacon that goes on and the laughter. And then even like as far as the intensity is concerned, I feel like in those workouts, I have to work the hardest. And I don't get nearly as good workouts by myself as I do in those workouts.
Yeah, it's crazy what we actually get done there. I don't know, the last one that I just ran, I think I kinda scared a few people away, but we'll see if they come back in a couple of weeks. I think I
Well,
gotta rejig it so
honestly,
it's more fun.
the feedback's been great. Like everyone's sore, but that's also a little bit of a measuring stick, right? You're getting, you're hitting things that you haven't hit before. They need to get hit.
Yeah, and that's where accountability ties in. There's a group of men that I gotta be accountable to when I go there. We're learning after when we chat, and we're learning things about each other and things about machinery or other stuff like that. Like, it's perfect. It's something that you can grow with and grow together.
Yeah, and Carlo and I had a good workout this morning. I was at the boxing club taking some little clips, and he even mentioned that he thinks a lot of the guys appreciated the little bit of a boxing lesson yesterday. I know that it's more than just boxing, and that's how I want it to stay. But I think I want to incorporate just as a cool down, or keep it 10 to 15 minutes per workout where we dial into one thing, whether it be defense, slips, rolls, something to make it look better for everyone so that they know they're developing a skill at the same time as, doing burpees and some of the other functional training that we do in there. What's your opinion on that?
I like it all. I like the variety because I have a pretty militant workout at home when it comes to going to the gym or what I want to get done at home. So when I go to these tribe workouts, I like the boxing to learn a little bit of self defense or offense. I guess it's mostly offense so far, but at least know how to throw a punch. And then the aerobic side of it too. Like, I don't get nearly enough of that at home. So love the burpees, love the mountain climbers, stuff like that. I want the heart racing when I leave. And I usually feel pretty good for the rest of the day too. I'm loose. So it's different
Right.
than lifting heavy things. It's a different modality. And I like that the most.
Yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's boxing workouts, right? So not only are you developing a skill, you're also developing the confidence that if for some odd reason, God help us, we need to get ourselves into an altercation, whether it's, for whatever reason, knowing that you can take care of yourself in those situations is very, very important as a man, I feel. And then on top of that, you're getting the aerobic workout with it. And then the rhythm and athleticism that comes with the boxing training. I think it's very, very beneficial, especially for guys our age who don't get to participate in things like that as much anymore.
I totally agree. We should go back to accountability, eh? We kind of went off track there. I love it.
Sidebar, yeah, that's squirrel brain.
Yeah. So it's good to be accountable to a tribe of other men. It's something that we've kind of lost as a society and has been as time has worn on. We've always been a group that sat around the fire and talked about the hunt or learned from each other. It's something we got to bring back.
Yeah. So even that, I think that the tribe workouts hold space for that, right? So we show up a half an hour early. I'm writing the lesson on the board. We get a little bullshit of some home stuff and we get to talk about those different aspects and variables in our lives. And then after, when we're all getting changed and kind of just sitting around after, we get a little bit of that sitting around the fire, bullshitting about, life and perspective and reflecting.
Yeah. It's perfect. What are some things that you do as like a weekly scorecard or monthly scorecard? How do you keep track of being accountable to yourself and to people around you?
Yeah, I have two go-to journals. One is the 5-minute journal, and I fill it out every evening. How can I make today great? You list three different, big ticket things, an affirmation, and then what am I grateful for? And then you fill it out at the evening. What made today great? What could I have done to make today better? And then I have a freelance journal, and that's kind of where I keep my accountability in check. Where are my boundaries? What am I doing that I could stop doing, and what are the things that are working, and how can I double down on those?
Yeah, that's a pretty good system. For me right now, it's just mostly tackling fitness and trying to stay in that cycle, I guess, of doing the right thing every day. So I have a weekly reminder on my calendar that just pops up at 9 a.m. every Wednesday, fitness goals with a question mark. And then I look back on my week and I think about how it went and what I could have done differently. At least there's some inflection there. I think the plan going forward is to start journaling as well.
Yeah, this goes back to the accountability slash discipline journal that we want to kick off. They can have all this stuff integrated into the journal as a scorecard, even the calendar, the Titans for Life calendar. This could be a great thing that you could keep score as the week goes on, and you could score yourself on the month. And it's got all these different Titans pillars right there whether it's income, whether it's tenacity, whether it's your North Star, whether it's your systems, and you can measure yourself every single day and then you can total it up and then you can see what elements you've got to work on, right?
Hmm. I can't wait to share that calendar with everyone when it comes out. I am excited about it. And for North Star or nobility, clarifying what you say yes to and what to burn. This is how you treat people in public, how your kids view you, how your interactions go, what kind of discipline you have at home, what kind of example you're setting. Is that correct, Dean?
Yeah. And I'd say what you do when people aren't watching.
That's right. When there's no applause in the room, what are you doing correctly? What are you doing for yourself? Do you set any kind of goals for this? Are there outcomes or anything you look back on after a week or a month that you try to improve upon when it comes to being that person?
I haven't set specific goals, but I think it really comes down to balance, right? So, what are the things that factor into your purpose and your why? What are those things that you hold dear and you've made a commitment to be better at or to show up at your best self, right? Family, father, personal growth, physical fitness, how your bank account looks, all those different things, and achieving balance in all those things, I think is really important because let's say you're chasing finances. Well, you could get really busy chomping at the bit and chasing a bunch of those different things, but then family might suffer, physical health might suffer. So achieving balance is, I think, your North Star in a nutshell. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Something to follow anyway. You don't want to leave your family behind in this process either. I think it's striving for that star, that shining example of what you should be. Nobility just means you're a noble guy doing it. Your habits are right, your discipline, you're forging forward, knowing that you're going to make mistakes, but in the end, you're trying to do the best possible for the people around you in serving them. Does that sound good?
Yes.
And showing that loyalty and commitment and all that to your tribe or your family. I think it's an exemplary thing to strive for.
I do like North Star as far as like what are the things that push you, right? What are your purposes? If I had to choose a North Star for what I know in my head, it would be family and legacy. And I know we've talked about legacy in the past and it seems very self centered. At the end of the day, I want to leave this world knowing that I accomplished something, knowing that I moved the needle in some way. And that really boils down to my family. How did I serve my family?
I think every conversation is a chance to be noble, especially with people you don't know, because if you're polite and good with them, then they can share information with you or education that you didn't have. It's kind of like Jordan Peterson's rule 9, like just assume somebody next to you knows something that you don't, or something along those lines. Like it is always going to be people that you don't agree with, but they're going to have some advice or something they went through in their life that can help you. So I always try to approach that with people. And I think it's a good example to set for my kids too, where you meet somebody new, they know something you don't, they share it with you. You're a better person for it.
Right, right. Man, there could be 90% of that person that you don't really care for. Being curious and keeping that open mind, that 10% could be something that changes your perspective and something that could give you some wins.
Yeah. And the more they reveal to you, the more you get to know that person. And you can always choose to have them as a part of your life or not. But that info is always there. Like somebody knows something that you don't. And I love that. I've always loved that rule. And I think that's ties back to nobility really
Yeah.
well.
This kind of goes back to the post I just made about roles aren't your purpose. And it's important to have that one exercise, writing a eulogy and then circling the verbs that are in that eulogy. What do you want people to say about you when you're gone? That phrase of where your nobility sits. And then also writing an equal anti eulogy. So things that you don't want said about you. So that would be essentially the definition of who you want to be and who you're trying to be every day.
I don't know if this ties back to it at all, but kind of envisioning yourself in your own movie. Let's say you're watching yourself on screen and what you're doing, your habits, and knowing in the audience like what it's going to take for you to break through. And you're screaming at the screen, like you need to do this
Yeah.
to become better, to be the hero of your own story. I think Chris Williamson
Yeah.
was the one that coined something like that. I found that very powerful too, because I sat and watched my life for a little bit and realized the alcohol intake's probably a little bit too high. I don't think I need this in my life anymore. It's holding me back from using 100% of my brain. And it was something small like that where it's like, this is impeding me so much that I can't be the hero to my own story.
Right. That's a
And
great way to look at things. And then to take that another step further, Alex Harmozy in a podcast with Aubrey Marcus, he said it really well. Whenever he's struggling with a decision, he asks his 80-year-old self, what would his 80-year-old self tell him to do in that situation? And he said, more often than not, that answer is right there. It's just, what would future me do here? Right. And
Yeah,
then it's an odd thing, but you come up with an answer pretty quick, and it's a great little lesson. So, how much does this matter? And if I was, my older self, what decision would he make right now?
such a powerful message. I really like that one. Now we'll move on to the last pillar. Number 6, systems. Systems make success boring and therefore inevitable. What kind of systems do you have in place that make things non-negotiable, or I guess stop you from falling through the cracks?
Right. I'm a systems guy 100%, and they just work so well. They dummy proof it all. They simplify every single day with these simple systems. As simple as my keys. I've got a carabiner. My keys always go on my belt loop of my pants. If I don't have a belt loop, they go in my pocket. But I have a system. So keys always stay on with that carabiner. And then when I'm home, they always go into my key holder. So I don't lose my keys, knock on wood, because I have a system with it. When I'm at work, when I do different things, I always have a system to what I'm doing. And it takes the opportunity for error out of it when you know you've done it a certain way every single time, and that way works and prevents errors. Big systems guy with everything I do.
I love that when you knocked on your head, you were pretending to knock on wood. If I knock on mine, I'm pretty sure it's granite. It doesn't have the same effect. So I don't get that luck factor, right? I feel like when it comes to systems, there's lots of stuff you can
What systems
implement.
do you have?
Systems that I have, let's see, like in camp, I'm a no dessert guy. I've been pretty good for the most part. I would say less than 5% of what I've eaten at camp, maybe even less than 3% has been desserts or anything that could harm me dietarily. Because I know when I come home, I want to celebrate maybe with my kids. There's going to be birthday parties. There's going to be opportunities on weekends or at hockey arenas to maybe enjoy that cheeseburger that I wanted or anything like that. So system at camp for food is going up to the line, making sure that it's a meat heavy plate, got some veggies on the side, trying to keep carbs to a minimum. If I want that cup of rice to be able to go lift weights, then that's fine. But just knowing that at camp, I'm going to be dialed in so that at home I can enjoy myself. When it comes to the gym, my system when I get back to camp is walk straight to my room, put my shoes on, headphones in my pocket. So when I go to eat and I walk out of that dining room, I'm already halfway there. And now I don't have a choice. I got on the workout shoes. We're not going backwards. Yeah. Try to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, and I've been pretty good the last 2 months, getting better. Still not a morning person, Dean. I don't know what it's going to take. It's been 14 years in the industry, and I get up at 5 every morning. I
That
still hate it, but it's working.
Yeah, the consistency is everything, right? Once you develop that consistency, then it becomes a habit. And when it's a habit, it makes it so much easier. Another good trick that Ben Pekulski talks about: eat in a calorie deficit 5 days a week. And if you can eat in a calorie deficit 5 days a week, then those other 2 days, they're taken care of, right? If it's a look Monday through Friday as an example, if you're in a calorie deficit, and then Saturday and Sunday you're out with the kids and you've got to go out for dinner, or there's a birthday party or whatever, you can afford to eat that cheeseburger or a piece of cake or whatever.
Exactly. You still got to enjoy life and live it a little bit, but you got to have the systems in place so that you're not overstepping, I would say, where you're consistently eating bad things and going down the hill. You got to be able to work your way up so you can enjoy a plateau and then keep going.
Yep, yep, you bet.
Even something as small as making coffee at night for the next morning, I have it set up so I can come down and just push a button instead of it wasting another 5, 10 minutes of my morning where I could be doing something else productive, maybe reading a book or looking online to improve something. Been doing a lot of that lately. Prepping your gym bag so that everything's ready.
And we could talk about this for forever because there's so many little tricks. As far as when I'm at camp, I wake up at 3:15. I want to be in the gym by 3:30, 3:45. I get my clothes, running shoes, everything set up for me. So I dummy proof it, right? And then I pre-build the workout the night before. So I already know what's happening when I get there. I don't have to wake up groggy. What am I going to wear? It's already set up for me. When I get in the gym, I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't even have to think about it. It's already set up for me, right?
Yep. And that can tie back to morning routines too, like filling out a journal or doing something a little bit later at night.
Systems could be a superpower, right? Really, at the end of the day, systems and scorecards just shows you you're moving in the right direction. It's not a guessing game, right? You know that you've got systems in place every day that work for you and that continuously move the needle forward.
Yep. And it's going to be your comfortability with the the systems that you put in place. And it's like wearing a hat. If those systems don't serve you, then try a new system, put a new hat on, do something that works for you. Today, you installed the Titans operating system, training, income, tenacity, accountability, North Star systems. Become hard to kill on purpose. Titans out. Well, that's it for this episode of Titans for Life. If you got value today, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share this with another Titan who needs to hear it. You can follow us on Facebook at Titans for Life. That's Titans, the number 4, life, or on Instagram at Titans_4_life_online, all lowercase. And if you want to rep the movement, support the show, or grab some Titan gear or supplements, check out our links in the show notes. Our Shopify store is now up. Until next time, always remember, the grind is the gold.